things that will definitely get you dirty looks in Paris. Not saying you can't do these things, you can do whatever the hell you want, but if you do these things, you are going to get dirty looks. Number 1 is this. Eating while walking. The French don't really snack. The one thing that you're allowed to eat while you're walking, only one thing. It's a baguette, obviously. That is the only thing that is acceptable to eat while walking. Anything else, just not super common. You do not see people eating on the metro. They eat at meals, and like that's it. And then like a cheeky bite of the end of your baguette.
I'm an American living in Paris. These 5 things will get you dirty looks here. France is just a wee bit different than the US. One American woman who lives abroad in Paris shared a list of the 5 things that will get you dirty looks in Paris to TikTok, and some of them are so commonplace we wouldn't even think twice about them. Amanda Rollins, who goes by the username @AmericanPhil on the social media app, has already reached over 1.3 million views on the video. The first no-no on the list was eating while walking. The French don't really snack, Rollins claimed. The one thing that you're allowed to eat while you're walking, only one thing. It's a baguette, obviously. That's the only thing that is acceptable to eat while walking. She said that eating anything else on the street is just not super common. The Francophile also explained that most people don't really eat on the metro, their version of the subway, and that eating just happens mostly at meals. In an email to the Post on Sunday, she explained that the video is a generalization, and that the tips are just from her observations living abroad. The things I mention are from my observations of life in Paris, my personal experiences, and what I've heard from French people. My word is not gospel, and if you believe it is, thank you, but I haven't started my cult yet. These are simply observations, she wrote. Rollins continued to the Post. Life in France is different from the US in many ways, and these are just some of the quintessential American things that could raise some eyebrows over here in Paris. The next tip Rollins shared was not to speak in English loudly while you're out and about. When I say loudly, I mean the volume that you normally speak at, she explained. Listen, I love you guys. I am you guys. I'm one of you. This is some tough love here. You effing scream. Rollins then continued into the next piece of advice, which was that asking for a to-go box at a restaurant is pretty unusual among Parisians. That's really uncommon, and it's super not French, she claimed. You're allowed to do it. I've done it before. It's literally fine. I'm not saying you can't do it, but because the portion sizes here are normal size, it's not very common to not finish your meal. She admitted that if you do ask for a box, you might get some looks from others. Her final 2 tips involved clothes: that wearing athletic clothing is not commonplace, and neither is being overly dressed up to go out to a nightclub. Athleisure is for the gym, or your home, your bedroom, actually, she warned. If you leave the house in like leggings or sweatpants or even joggers, depending on how they're styled, you're gonna get looks. It's just not how people dress here. She continued, adding that wearing jeans and a top when going out on a Friday night is recommended over heels and dresses. You are not gonna see the full attire, the full mini skirts, heels, makeup, Rollins said. That said, you can do whatever you want, literally who cares if you get looks. In the comments section of her video, many users seem to agree with her takeaways about the proper Parisian behavior. So what you're saying is people in Paris have better etiquette. I'm impressed. One person wrote. Another seconded Macron, on point. Especially the eating while waking. Others, however, seem to be offended by the pointers. The way we don't eat baguette ever in the street, someone claimed. Another person typed, being in France sounds exhausting. 3.
Number 2, speaking in English loudly. And when I say loudly, I mean at the volume that you normally speak at. Listen, I love you guys. I am you guys. I love you. I'm one of you. This is some tough love here. You fucking scream. Americans, look at me. You fucking scream. You're screaming. Your voice that you think is your inside voice, no. It's your outside voice. Asking for a to-go box at a restaurant, that's really uncommon and it's super not French. You're allowed to do it. I've done it before. It's literally fine. I'm not saying you can't do it, but because the portion sizes here are normal sized, like they're the size that a normal human would eat in one meal, it's not very common to not finish your meal. Like French people finish their meals because, like I said, they don't snack. So they're sitting down for a meal, they're going to have the whole meal. So it's very uncommon for you to not finish your meal, and then if you do, it's even more uncommon to ask for a box. Again, you can. I've done it, but you might get looks. Wearing athletic gear, athleisure, pajamas, anything comfortable, anything fun, anything nice in public. I say that because if I could live my whole life in sweatpants, I fucking would. Yeah, you're not going to see it. Athleisure is for the gym or your home, your bedroom actually. If you leave the house in like leggings or sweatpants or even joggers, depending on how they're styled, you're gonna get looks. It's not how people dress here. You have to make the minimum effort when you go outside. Oh my God, and sometimes it doesn't feel so minimum, but you gotta put like jeans or slacks on or a skirt. Ladies, if you're going out in Paris, wearing like a short skirt and heels, or like just being like overly dolled up, you're gonna get some looks. Again, not saying you can't do these things, and obviously there's certain clubs in Paris, like the fashion week clubs, those are not the clubs that I go to. That's their vibe, but that's the minority. For the most part, in France, when we go out on a Friday night, it's jeans and a top, boots, sneakers, flat shoes, maybe small heels, but like you are not going to see the full attire, the full mini skirt, heels, makeup. Instead, you can do whatever you want. Literally, who cares if you get looks? Get looks, who cares? Just do it. And don't forget, you guys can schedule consultation calls with me if you're going to be visiting Paris, or tours. I actually offer private tours. If you want some extra tips, or if you have questions about planning your trip, your itinerary, where to stay, all of those things, it's all linked in my bio.